Hey guys, what's up? It's been a while since I've done a story time. Sorry about that. Just been busy with other things, Dragon Con and then re-editing YomaCon and all that fun stuff. So for this story, we're actually gonna jump back a little bit to I think like mid-August. Whenever Matsuricon happened, I'm pretty sure it was mid-August. But let's build into this story a little bit. So first of all, I had zero plans to go to Matsuricon, none at all, because I'm trying to save up money, not going to as many cons right now until next May. Then it's going to just explode with cons, but until then, it's just slowing down a lot. So I'm trying to save money, didn't plan to go. On Tuesday, right before the con, I thought, like, I saw people posting about it, and I'm like, dang, I've got more money saved up than I thought I would at this point. I don't have a hotel room or a press badge or anything like that, but, like, I kind of want to go. And I thought it would be a good idea to test sleeping in my car, because I plan to do a lot of that next year. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. So I went to work on Friday when I got off of work, which I get off of work pretty early. I got off at like 11:30 in the morning. I took off and headed for Columbus with no hotel room and no press badge, which I normally have press badges at cons. Not a big deal. I used to not have them, so, I mean, it was totally fine to not have it, but it's just different than what I'm used to nowadays. I get there, very, very weird, not having a hotel room to go back to. I'll say that. And I just did it the whole weekend. I didn't stay the entire weekend. I stayed all of Friday, slept in my car that night. It was hot. Admittedly, of course, it was in August, but I made it work. I fell asleep somehow, and I did it. And then I got up pretty early on Saturday, like 6 a.m., stayed up all day. Halfway through Saturday, Drew showed up, and he let me shower and everything, so that's how I got a shower. And then we just hung out, recorded videos, talked to people, made friends, talked to people we had already met before at past cons, and then managed to get backstage passes for the rave. So we went to the rave. I don't remember when that happened, but obviously it's sometime in the night. And I've been up since 6 a.m. and didn't get an amazing sleep because it was the first time I ever slept in my car. And so somehow I'm still going. I'm feeling good, but I don't know. I must have been running off adrenaline or something. And we do the rave. We get tons of footage. We only stay for the first DJ, I think, or the first two DJs. Yeah, we stay for the first two DJs. Pretty sure. Get, like, as much footage as we can. And then it's like, all right, dude, I gotta go. Because it's not that I didn't want to sleep in my car again that night. I totally would have. But I wanted to get home to start editing right when I wake up in the morning. I wanted this video to be out quick, and it worked because I got the music video for it out before anyone else. Like, everyone was like, dude, how did you get this out already? But to do that, I had to go home that night. So Drew heads off toward his hotel. I walk back to my car, and I'm like, all right, I'm feeling good. Let's do this. I get on the road, and Columbus is like filled with traffic. Of course, it's Saturday night. What was I thinking? It took me forever just to get on the interstate. By the time I'm on the interstate, within a half an hour, I'm like, dude, it's like a 2.5 hour drive. Within like a half an hour, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make this. Like, I'm so tired. What was I thinking? Like, I've heard stories about people falling asleep on the road, and I don't want that to be me. Like, I need to make it home. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pull off in a rest stop, and I'm just gonna rest. Like, I'm gonna try to, like, get at least, like, 10 minutes of sleep if I can. Like, at least, maybe more. So I pull off into this rest stop. Right before I do, I see a sign that says, no more rest stops for 70 miles after this rest stop. So I'm like, I have to do this one. So I pull off into this rest stop, and I park, and I notice, first of all, it's like 1:30 or 2 a.m., and I notice, like, there's all these people there, and they were very, like, stereotypically redneck, like, a ton of them running around, like, screaming, and honestly, they kind of freaked me out. I mean, because I'm alone. I'm not used to being alone on the road. I normally have my friends with me, and like you can see into my car if I sleep in it. I just parked. I saw them all look at me when I pulled up. So I tried to shut my eyes for a bit, but like they kept looking at me, and they were making me very uncomfortable. So I was like, I'm not going to be able to fall asleep. Like, even if they were never going to do anything, it made me just uncomfortable to the point where I knew I wasn't going to be able to get to sleep. And so I was just like, I'm wasting time here. I'm just going to get back on the road. I know it's 70 miles, but worst comes to worst, I'll like pull off to the side of the road or something and sleep. So I get back on the road and I'm going and I've got my music playing and I'm just focused on the road. And I keep thinking to myself, don't fall asleep, Cody. Don't fall asleep. And then suddenly, the next thing I know, my eyes are shut, and I just think to myself, oh my God, you were just asleep. My eyes are still shut. I'm like, dude, open your eyes. I open my eyes, and I'm halfway into the other lane. Luckily, I was in the middle lane, like we're on the interstate, so everyone's going the same way. There were no other cars around me at all. Thank God, or I probably would have hit them. And also thankful that I was in the middle lane because I veer off to the right. If I was in the right lane, I would have went off the road like straight up. So I veer off. I'm halfway into the other lane. I wake up and I correct myself, and I literally had no clue how long I was out. It could have been seconds. It could have been like a minute. It was probably like 5-10 seconds would be my guess to like get off the road like that. I was on cruise control too, so my car was just gonna keep going. Like, I fall asleep, it's just going to keep going. There's no stopping into whatever it hits. And this freaked me out. And I remember saying to myself, I was like, dude, you're not going to effing die tonight. Like, I said that out loud. I'm like, you're getting home. It doesn't matter. So I was like, how do I keep myself awake? I'm only like 40 minutes into this 2.5-hour drive. So I turn my music all the way as loud as I possibly can. I'm going to be disturbing somebody if I go by them. There's no way they're not hearing this. I don't care. It was also a pretty decently cold night, so I rolled the windows down and turned my air conditioner on so that I'm just absolutely freezing because it's hard. I like to fall asleep in the cold, but if I'm like freezing to the point where I'm almost shivering, it's impossible for me to fall asleep. So I was like, all right, I'm going to just make myself uncomfortable. And I made myself sing to every single song that came on. All of them. I sang to all of them. And like I was like screaming some of them just to make myself use more energy to keep myself awake. And then I also started to have to pee. And there were no rest stops for 70 miles anyway. But I was like, dude, you're holding it so that you're so uncomfortable. You're cold, have to pee, have music playing, that it doesn't matter. You're not falling asleep. And somehow I made it home. When I got home, I was very uncomfortable. I was shivering. My head hurt from like putting myself in so much discomfort. But I lived and I made it home. So the moral of the story, guys, is this isn't just for cons. Obviously, this will fit for anything. But if you do ever go to a con like I did, then you decide to leave that night, make sure that, like, really ask yourself, seriously, and don't push it. Just be like, do I have the energy to make it home? Because if that drive was any longer, if that drive was 3 hours long, I don't know that I would have made it. I mean, I probably would have. I'm very sink or swim mentality. I'm sure I would have done something to make it work, but like, just be careful out there because it can happen. I thought to myself, like, I'm not going to fall asleep on the road. I'm fine. But I mean, it can happen to anybody. I didn't even know it had happened to me until it did. I didn't know I was drifting off. I mean, I knew I was tired, but until I woke up and realized I was in another lane, I had no clue. So just be careful, guys. And yeah, that's the story. Thanks for listening. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have ever had any experiences with falling asleep at the wheel. Especially like it has to do with a con, since this is technically convention story time. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Be safe out there.